This is going to be a very short video I'm going to do. I don't think it is the same thing as it was done to my father. It's the same practice, but it's not the same thing. However, pay attention to this very closely. Probably year was 1993, about 2 years after independence in Slovenia. And they claimed me that I displayed signs of mental illness. This is not restricted to Slovenia. It did came from the side of Lojze Peterle. It came from the side of Dmitry Rupel, Janez Janša. It was literally supported by British royals as well as Angela Merkel. They started to warn me that I displayed signs of mental illness. Apparently, I was video recorded, monitored. Video surveillance in our house, in our household, goes way before 1995. And I anticipated it was installed in 1998, 1997 for my own protection. This is what I also learned based on the stated incident, for which they told me if you will continue to display signs of mental illness. I never had any kind of mental illness. It was exactly the opposite. They wished it would be, but there was none. We will poison you, and what will happen is you will become mentally ill. No, in other words, they did recognize that I did not have mental illness. However, that I displayed mental illness signs, whatever that might be, and that if I will continue to display mental illness signs, they will contribute to this and destroy my brain. In United States of America, I've seen an individual, a neighbor actually, to the building where I lived in 47th Street on Miami Beach. I don't know what his name was. I don't recall right now his name. It doesn't matter. But he had a lady, a government worker, who actually works, as Sally was her name, and she worked for the IRS. And as for additional source of income, she had opportunity to take care of this older man. And in the United States, if you take one in a household, in your household, you take care of one, there is a certain money that government allocates for the person like this. And basically that's the way it goes. I'm trying to recall what his name was. So he was a very pleasant man. There was only one problem maybe with him. He just was probably with a lot of people. It's the stuff I actually don't believe, especially because of case of my own. You have people like Mike Tyson who refuse to believe the mental illness exists because of my case. Um, This man was just basically just harmless. He was just around house in the house, and to him to get the cigarette was like wow thing. Um, but basically that's all there was. This is just an older man that he need to have things washed, and he would be back and forth in a somewhat similar situation to the situation of my father. However, my father experienced totally other issues. My father was, or maybe not. I started to suspect also that kind of stuff. He became, it's like a process of retardation when you lose control over, I would say, timing, you know. And you would, I think that sense for timing, I think it's extremely, extremely important. One of the coordinates that defines us. I think everything is synchronized, really. It's like a mechanism that in which everything is synchronized, you know. So if you go to a police school or you go to, they give you a test, they give you, let's say, 100 questions. And for these 100 questions, you're going to have maybe 100 minutes of time to complete the test, maybe even less. It depends on complicity, it depends on how complex this the issues, you know, what it exactly demands with this computing or something involved, whatever. And if you have not answered those questions, it's too damn bad. It all goes to minus, basically. Check mark that as wrong answers, basically. Um, is that kind of stuff that's actually really, really helpful, and I recommend to the people when it comes to mental fitness. That's what I'm going to do with my father once I get him out of there. He's going to have to be rehabilitated big time. But I think it could have been used on him to talking about the substances I it was given to me a substance in 1993, but it really traced to British royals that would just, how the fuck can I say this? If I describe this stuff, this shit would just make my mind experience like it would be like a lot of pressure, like it would be like a lot of pressure in it, like almost huh. I think they might have added that shit also to MK Ultra drugs. I think they did. MK Ultra drugs sometimes was so fucked up that it was a drug and then they added different substances to it. And I think that might have been present many, 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 many times. I think that actually that I'm not even a regular an individual. I think that they tried to destroy me in so many ways and just did not go through somehow. They desperately tried and it just body somehow handled. And so this substance it made me feel like now if you would lean forward like this, it would feel like the picture would become like how can I say like if you would have a low and high pressure, you would suffer from such issues like this. It would like have an impact even on a vision. Yeah, I immediately recalled what I was told the case is gonna be, but I didn't give a three fucks about. There's one thing why I managed to overcome all these things. I never ever allow anybody to get on my way. I didn't care really. Um, the opinion over the course of the time became to me as an experienced MK Ultra subject, it was just a matter of um, how can I say, just a matter of it was just a waste because I became so versed, so and they were really scared for a good reason because they knew that they didn't know, because for such a great amount of time I did not display any intelligence, any signs of intelligence, anything that would suggest them that I'm actually aware of something like this. But when they handle you, when they when they interact with you, they know how intelligent you are based on your reactions. Those are basically um, signs they get, and they know exactly because the people that were involved in it, these were like old cats. I mean, these were not new people or something like this. Angela Merkel was here in Slovenia at my age 14. Here in this house, here in Slovenia, at my age 14. It wasn't only a neighbor here, Method Yerman, that would go along the police officers when they would drive me to Eastern Germany through mainly through the Czech Republic. I think they went through the Hungary, Slovakia, Czech Republic, and straight to DDR. You got to understand that Igor Boucher, let's say, a police officer from the Novo Mesto, participated in MK Ultra since my age 7, 8, 7 probably. He would come this class, this grade, this 1A, as it was the name in this grammar school, Osnovna Škola Grm. They would have tied one straight into the police station. You know, the police directors and stuff like this, they fucking knew me all too well when I was in the first grade of the grammar school, and that is the age of 6 I was. Okay, so that probably should scare the fuck out of you, stuff I'm talking about right now. From Ljubljana, Lojze Peterle was his name. He became involved sometime at my age 8, 9, and would be very, very active, coming from Ljubljana to Novo Mesto till my age 12, and it was a top secret. I was ordered to keep this quiet, silent. They had other children they associated with from Ljubljana, from other parts, and it was more like a fun experience. And through this fun experience, this human experimentations, it was something else that was broiling behind all this stuff. Yeah, he disappeared for about 2 years or something like this, and he reappeared back. And then you have Janez Janša. What exactly that tells you is, if I give you a German example, Angela Merkel example. Angela Merkel was everything everywhere on the internet you read is written about her that she was a Stasi, that she was a secret German police. She's a Stasi and Stasi and Stasi. Well, she risked her life going with me. Not that I would take her to the car and drive her as a child, but she would have people in Eastern Germany in DDR at her work that would cover up for her and would take time to go with a German intelligence under the intelligence of the Stasi. They still have their own intelligence. With us to the Western Germany on two occasions. It was funny when I was from Slovenia and maybe at age, I don't know, was it like uh, 15 maybe, when I had Angela Merkel sitting next to him, next to me, with Germans driving us from DDR to Western Germany. You know, when I told you about the implants, about the eavesdropping and stuff like that, no, that's what basically we're talking about. And Angela Merkel it was not 15, it was probably age 16 I had, probably 16. But I say this because Angela Merkel relatively learned late about Western Germany. Even as a German, as an Eastern German, Angela Merkel did not know anything about Western Germany. Angela Merkel, when she would go with people that drove me to the Bonn to meet, literally to meet, Joachim Scholz, the one that you see now is heading the German politic. This was her straight connection. She was not a Stasi. She worked for the German intelligence, Western intelligence all along, before she even got to know uh, Western Germany. Anyhow, that there is something written about her. I don't know how all that worked. That her father, I don't know, a priest or something like this, and they move back and forth and this and that. Uh, I don't have a time to go over Wikipedia or whatever. I'm giving you something completely different that nobody knows about this stuff. There was some other connections also. I have to look on the internet. I can tell you exactly with whom she was directly dealing with. Who exactly were exactly the people that that she was dealing with. And I know so because she was like extremely happy that she went on this trip. And I have no fucking idea. Angela is very mysterious. Maybe she wanted to make me feel good about it or something like this. I have no idea. I mean, I was happy that she saw the Western Germany. Anyhow, she's German. Must be terrible to be in one part of the Germany. I'm not gonna say impoverished, maybe, but in a different world, basically. I don't know. Uh, you know. Anyhow, um, let's go back to this issue I started. That's a very, very important one. Um, this stuff they gave me, this drug, I don't know what is a hard drug, but this shit was hard on me. This shit, yeah, that's what I noticed on my father, that he would go and he would fucking need time to pull the pants up and to go to the restroom, and he would be like, he is like fucking daydreaming, like you take the key from the lock, something like this. Or let's say you take the watch and put the watch on and you do this. I know that he had a problem with the eyesight, but I'm afraid there was something else to it, because he would need for the belt like this like a fucking hour to put the watch on. When I think about the man I have seen the next door over there in Miami, when I go back in time in 1993 and I think about myself experiencing this kind of, um, it didn't actually have, it did not have impact on me on timing wise timing, no, but it did have impact on the way I felt, and it felt terrible, man. It felt like my brain would be burning or something like this. Oh, literally, it felt like something the fuck is eating my brain or something like this. It felt like um, almost like it would hurt. If I do this stronger, I can hurt myself, whatever. I'm just giving you a comparison. But when it comes to brain, it's a different thing. It's actually really, really different. There are different things you could feel if you would be subject to MK Ultra or somebody would have even given you ECT. ECT is painful as a motherfucker can be. Like you would go like pain would go like through the fucking roof. Electroconvulsive. There's a electric current related issues. That's crazy. But when it comes to these drugs, they can be also painful. The drug like this can be painful because this kind of drug can be like under MK Ultra, like they would use. I told you about the types of the drugs. I was wrong, I think. I think it was one drug, but I think that next to that drug, I think not side effects wise, they developed different drugs though, with as the time progressed. But I have to tell you that the light drug, the light without having any pain, is what they refer to one as. In my opinion, I feel that the MK Ultra drug that would just compel you to use your subconscious instead of a regular uh, being awake, you were compelled to use the subconscious. Basically, it's about the best description. I think they added something to it, and I think that whatever they added to it, sometimes they added the stuff so that you could not discern the faces, and they would use the people that would somewhat remind of somebody, and it would be that person right in front of you, but it wouldn't be a clear vision. And on other occasions, they would use drugs that would make your brain like squirm the fuck, like if you would take the key and you would go like against the hard surface, like you would pull like with the key and you would hear. "Arr." I think that's not good because there's a friction. There's something is not there. So I have no idea how that's done. Maybe inflates brain or something like this. And you know, on some other occasions, they would use something that would stone you deep. Like if you wouldn't have somebody interacting with you, you would be just like on a heartbeat like this. You would be just falling, like disappear in your mind. You know what I mean? Uh, Only when somebody would stimulate you would work. A regular drug, I wouldn't say that it was a quantity. Maybe it was a quantity of the drug that was used. That's a possibility too. Maybe it was a bigger quantity. I don't know because I did not administer whatever they were using. Uh, could have you interact with people all day fucking long. You would remember everything. But on another occasion, I could walk with a guy and swear to God that my brain hurt basically from intensity of the drug. The drug that was given to me on occasion was like drug that would like it was like very difficult to continue to go walk even. And I think based on conversation I had with these police officers whenever they were giving me those drugs, that they suggested that actually those drugs are very, very harmful and so on and so forth. But how harmful exactly? What exactly did these drugs, that drug in particular, produce? Probably nothing good. Probably that drug could maybe give you a stroke on the long term, or or possibly could give you maybe mentally retard you. Because mental retardation, that's an interesting topic. If you're causing one mechanically, therefore, if you're using external force to impact certain part of the brain that decides about time and you know, it's a question basically. All these issues. I don't know. No, in some way it would be interesting to learn about this. Whatever was done to me, how you know my own health wise, basically. But let's go back to 1993. 1993, the drug that was given to me, the drug that was given to me was a drug that was, yeah, I could say maybe it was like sensation that was sort of painful. And this shit went on for day two, 3 days. And after 3 days, it really, really, really started to get difficult. It started to get difficult. And I just couldn't believe that they could fuck me up with that drug, basically, as they were threatening me during MK Ultra. It was like a test to let me know that I was so pissed off about everything that there was a watch they would sell at the store, a local store here in Novo Mesto, a nice Casio watch. And I really liked that watch. And I went ahead and I purchased that watch. And I enjoyed the watch one day, maybe. After one day, it was a brand new Casio watch. I still have it. Um, I got tired of it, man. After one day, I was like, maybe the year was for the watch. I'm saying was even earlier. Maybe the year was 92, maybe something. I think it was 92, maybe even 91. I don't know. Upon this fucking Slovenian independence. And let me tell you something that I was really really nervous about this whole fucking thing, where this stuff is going. And I came to realize that if I'm gonna start seeing myself in beautiful things, that I'm gonna get fucked in this environment, because it's exactly, I figured out that it's these things that are using to keep me in a cage. And I figured out that on a long term, because of the jobs, I tried jobs, tried to make the money. The money was a fucking $100 for like 80 hours of work per week, $100 per month for 80-hour work, for 80-hour a week work. At the church, let's say, that was stealing the fucking money from the state that would that would even partially finance this stuff. I was so fucking disillusioned with all this stuff that I realized that, and even that was not good, that I realized that I better do something about this stuff, because if I'm not going to be doing anything about this stuff, it's going to be a really problem. I realized that if I'm going to stay in Slovenia and basically look for the job, and when compared to my friends, when compared to my schoolmates were entitled to 3 times as high salary for like 40 hours a week upon Slovenian independence. It wasn't difficult for them to get the job. Talking about the schoolmates here, I'm not. Some others went to Ljubljana to university. They got the stipendiums, and I was pulling the shit together from whatever Social Security for unemployed gave and work on a black market as a DHL driver using my own fucking car and stuff like this. It did not look promising, really. After going through all this stuff, I realized that if I am going to stay here, and I did not even consider MK Ultra really. When it comes to MK Ultra was one thing. MK Ultra suggested that I'm definitely dead, but it was some other stuff. It was stuff I told you about. Uh, yes, MK Ultra would not stop in a new country, in a new state. Uh, the promised land was as the one in Yugoslavia. There was no end to this shit. And the abuse that bothered me, disturbed me the most was the employment. I always was like an Uncle Sam. For me, the money is that talked, money talks, bullshit walks. And I wanted to know how the hell this is going to go. It's houses, apartments, cars, and so on. And I wasn't going to go and waste my grandfather's savings, for which father with a loan also build his house and stuff like this, leave out of the fucking social security. And so I wanted a job, I wanted a prosperity, I wanted to make a money. I was not interested about anything Slovenia had in plan for me. Wasting my time watching TV, fucking doing nothing and stuff like this. And so I wanted to know about this was like a preliminary things for me. I didn't see myself in this house for basically family reasons that were not really acceptable the way I was viewed, treated as, mainly. But then on the other hand, is just when you grow up, don't ever go for that stuff. You have the right to go to work and create for yourself more. You have the right to buy another house, one more apartment, build your company and stuff like this. This is your right. You have the right to do this. You have the right to be ambitious. You have the right to pursue your life. In a grammar school, just as high school, were nothing other than what the first grade teacher stated to me when I entered the first grade of the grammar school when I was 6 years old. We do this to you a few times with injustice. We grade you. And what happens is, she did not explain to me what happens, but I remember what you stated, and I can tell you, you lose the will for to study and stuff like this. It's where the problems explode and so on. Retardation. It's a different kind of retardation for which they use group of kids to ongoingly engage in physical aggression at home. It was insane. I mean, violence-wise. But my father complained about this. He claimed that I fucked him, that I caused him a trouble, and it was really the police that would visit, that would pressure him, that they were apparently at work breaking his balls. At times he was completely insane. He wasn't really quite there. And he complained about the coworkers about how they're doing stuff to him. And apparently the people from the factory and people that he interacted, that it was just a circle that formed around him and basically took control over one, because those were the visitors. It was always something that wasn't quite there. He was full of seeing stuff and so on and so forth. He was in that kind of situation. It was stuff. They were doing stuff to him, so he would do stuff like that. As much as this can apologize, I don't know. Um, my mom and dad claimed that till I came, everything was okay. that my sister was a superior student and stuff like this, which is true. But the thing is that my sister also was beaten up here and there. So, I mean, if I was guilty for everything, um, look, um, Slovenia was destroyed before one even became, not before, not, but as soon as one became independent country, Slovenia was, how can I tell you, obsolete as a country, as a state, as a nation. It actually became completely, completely nothing, really. Worthless state, worthless nation. The people who made worthless Slovenian nation, were the people that reclaimed the status as a founding fathers of Slovenia. Talking about the Janez Janša, you're talking about Igor Baučar, police officer Igor Baučar, the one I told you was involved since a first, second, third grade, directly at the Novo Mesto Grm, osnovna šola Grm, Novo Mesto school. It was other people that was also involved. And they always give the child to see from the child whom he wants to interact with, which is the one that he likes. And then based on the mutual chemistry, they choose you a mentor. Okay, so this guy was a police officer. Maybe I'll demonstrate you. This is basically how it all went. But let me explain to you something. Every country, every nation, as soon as you have a nation, this is the longest acting I've probably since my age 7, I would say. Since my age 7, I would say. The longest is a police officer. The longest acting individual from the city of the Novo Mesto he is. This is the most involved individual in MK Ultra. You know, all the politicians have MK Ultra in their backyard. Everybody. The country that, when you deliver a child to this world, this child is spotless. There is no crime record. There's nothing that this child have committed that you have on your file that you can use against one. And it's the same thing with a nation. Nation is born usually from a struggle, from a suffering. If it becomes independent, especially, absolutely. Except that this nation was not spotless. This nation had a big bloody mark on one. This nation had a tremendous red spot all over. Upon its proclamation of independence, I was the fucking spot that clearly suggested nothing really is okay. After this people, I demonstrated you. This guy who would come from Ljubljana, let's say, during MK Ultra, this individual here, yeah, he promised me his daughters, and his daughters were involved in all kinds of shit like this. Huh? Became ambitious, take care of European security and so on. That kind of stuff he would want to do now. literally had European politicians begging me to leave him alone, that he is reliable and this and that. This isn't about being reliable or not. You did a lousy job, guys. You you did an extremely lousy job. Lousy because of the issues you have used to present me as somebody who just needed this kind of lesson, just needed to prove himself to be normal and so on. He did a lousy job. And so for the lousy jobs like this, I'm not even the person responsible for that kind of stuff. That's actually a matter for the police. That's not really for the guys like myself to decide. But it's for the guys like myself to decide what to do in respect to police. That will lead this investigation. Now, that I would not trust because of the degree amount of police involvement in it. Um, the most disappointed I am today, and I really was not when it happened so, and it happened so for it. This is what the guys that I demonstrated, Loisa Petrle and another one, Dmitry Rubens, on, insisted me how it's going to be the Russians, how it's going to be Serbs. They're going to try to fuck us, make us lose independence and such. And really, man, when I think about Medvedev, Lavrov in Moscow, yeah, we would find our way back to Moscow with these people. Um, Started to insist me on the issue on how I should and how I should not present the case so Slovenia would not lose its independence, but by actually asking me to present the case in such a way so that it would not affect Slovenian independence. Believe it or not, the Ruskies bullied me, challenged me on how I am going to actually present the issue of Loisa Peterle, of Igor Bauchar. They were supposed to be the biggest enemies of them all, so that it would not have actually uh, the way they wanted me to do. Um, if I go to the previous video when I explained the role of these people, how it all happened, um, the way they wanted me to present this case, well, basically turning gun against myself, but basically omitting the crucial, the most important facts in respect to Slovenian independence. Like, let's say, uh, when I stated Lavrov Medvedev gave a green light for Slovenian independence to take place, and they insisted on how, it's all good. There could be only like a small fractions of Yugoslav military that we would face, that they arrange everything with the Belgrade and so on and so forth. Well, the thing about it is that here in Slovenia, and it actually the war like sort of exploded into a 10-day struggle, rather than just easily giving up uh, on Slovenia. They did. The Russians did exactly opposite. There's no doubt about that. And Russians stated me, if you will say that we are the one who gave the green light for Slovenian independence. Yeah, they were trying to use me as a sensation so that I would come out and basically corrupt me, use my struggle to come out and say, well, I had this kind of conversation with the people in Moscow. um, for me to say, just as I stated um, about how Slovenia received the weapons um, from the West and so on. And it was interesting because then I have this Slovenian independence people claiming me that they never received anything and so on and so forth. They did because I was in the military. They forgot about something. I myself, I was a first generation of Slovenian military. I served as a Slovenian soldier with a Slovenian uniform on me. I think it was a first generation. And so I'm gonna say to you, fuck you. It wasn't AK-47 only. I had AK-47, but some guys were actually given replicas of AR. I think it's AR-15. It was just made in Singapore. Those rifles were not from Eastern Bloc. Those automatic rifles actually came, you know, remember when I told you how I secured the military assistance help actually through the negotiations in Moscow, and then these people decided we'll take step forward and go for independence. That's exactly the recipe that you see today in Ukraine. That's exactly how it's done. I was the one who secured independence. When you receive a little amount of weapons, the idea is for the enemy to confiscate even some of those weapons, complain about how they got the weapons from abroad, from other countries. And then depending on you, on your struggle, on how much you portray, on how much you are willing to resist, on how much you are willing to represent the standards of whom you would like to join to, like Ukrainian people are doing a really good job at that, you receive additional support. You understand? But basically that's how it starts. And if you don't want to start here with this, you don't get assistance of any kind from the West. So I was the one. He didn't play the crucial role, those rifles, but it's like in a combat sense, but in a strategical sense, in a long term. And those rifles were nothing to play with. Those rifles are fucking AR-15s. Those are real good rifles. Copies from Singapore. I don't know what the name of those rifles already was at that time. I forgot about that. I think it was something Saras or whatever. I don't know. It was not FAMAS. It was made in Singapore, and it was a copy of American rifles from the American military. That's exactly what I wanted. I also want those American rifles, actually copies. Actually, I want American rifles, and those are copies of American rifles, exactly as good, as the same, because I want Slovenian military to look like a NATO military. That was the idea. I didn't want no fucking Kalashnikovs. I wanted Kalashnikovs out of the door, and I wanted exactly according to the NATO standards, everything. So I was the one. Now, even they claimed that Milan Kuchran claimed that they could not count for that stuff. They did not exist for that stuff. That actually the package that we received was passed on to Croatian side. Nobody passed. I don't think they did. Maybe they did. Who knows? How about the people like this that shouldn't have any access to world of internal affairs anyways? I wanted to Sergei Lavrov and Medvedev therefore insisted on my saying even that Slovenian independence was secured through agreement in Moscow, which is absolutely not. But what I find interesting about this shit is something else that fascinated me afterwards. Like, I was brought back to Moscow and such. As a matter of fact, Peterle, Rupe, Jansson, Boucher claimed they never went to the Moscow again. I understand they never did, but they did. At later stage, again they did. They would appear here and there again. And wherever took place afterwards in Moscow, regarding Peterle, Yansha, and uh, Boucher and so on, stayed in Moscow. In other words, I don't give a three fucks about that. I don't want to have nothing to do. It did not have any impact on me. What, however, did have impact on me is that Russian side continued to insist by actually presenting me the whole issue. And the whole issue was explaining me in face on how if you will say that we give a green paper, you do understand that your sovereignty will be jeopardized because it involved these people. And if you will not say, I guess we will be nothing able to do. That's what fucked my mind up at the time. Today it doesn't, because I understand that Janis Janša, who already was UDBA man, in Eastern Germany knows as a Stasi or KGB guy, full member, and then you have another guy, police officer from Yugoslavia, and you have this guy Peterle, who maybe even is the most shoddy of them all, definitely is with the most disgusting character of everybody. These are the people, folks, I supported all my life on a political stage. These are not some random people or something. That much the bigger disappointment due to these issues, for you to understand me fully. Russians wouldn't do this shit unless they wanted to cover up for them. That's where another piece of the rotten fish is in respect to these people. I'm an extremely analytical person. I analyze the situation so thoroughly, back and forth, left and right, and every little thing you don't fucking understand how much every issue, from what corner, from what aspects, from the human mind position, it's all analyzed. You don't escape to me with a little thing that I would not know where it came from. Blind people, extremely intelligent people. I start to believe that blind people have intuition, that they have ability to see literally through uh, understanding things. I believe that blind people have ability not only to imagine things, where they stand and what they look like, but which they do, but I think it's more than that. I think that blind people have a sort of sensor, actually, that they have a capacity to actually to uh, understand the time and space in a very different way than what we do. I think I was blind. Definitely, I was blinded without having ability capacity to respond, but I was not retarded enough so that I could not process, even having ability to go back in time as far as 48 years back in time to recall the events since I was in the kindergarten and so on with a very, very, very good clear detail. Yeah? Why did Loise Peterle, the most trusted individual from my end, why have Igor Boucher, Janis Janša, but foremost Loise Peterle had the most free hands in Janis Janša? Why have these individuals continued to remind me? No. After 91, after the Slovenian independence passed, and they became like with France Boucher, Also the most trusted. I trusted one also the most. And then you have uh, the guy who also had a German citizenship, um, Puchnik, Jože Puchnik. Why the fuck these people fuck reminded me of what they continue to remind me how they fuck me upon Slovenian independence. Well, they were doing everything possible to develop what they believe would be mental illness. There was no mental illness, unfortunately. These people marched against something that was way completely different than what they were. It was a completely different composition, brain composition, physical composition. They couldn't stop me. They tried absolutely everything possible. They poisoned here. They did a lot of stuff. They cooperated with the enemy to destroy me, to get me destroyed, to retard me, to ruin me, to vanish me. They couldn't. So they started to see things that did not exist, including the mental illness. And the more they did, the more desperate they were becoming, because the crime was so severe that Loisa Peterles stated that he will admit if I ever bring that far and step down. No, 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 no. Don't worry about it. This is going to be. It's going to take more. It's going to take more than this. It's absolutely not what I heard last night. 150 people wasted to save one. This is about saving one. This is about other issues. This is about completely other issues. This is about my wasting 45 years on some sort of what they refer to as MK Ultra. My life being fucking wasted. My being, you know, not dignified, but basically deleted from existence. Makes me actually feel that the so-called deleted was a state crime they committed themselves to, so that this case would not be seen. Even this is what makes me believe. I believe the so-called deleted in Slovenia suffered in a great way so that I alone could not be seen. I was a problem for everybody because already till then the crime was so enormous, and then it only with what they committed was actually really, really atrocious stuff. Where I talked about the purity, this nation lost its purity, lost its intent to depict itself as somebody who became independent due to struggle. Slovenia will never be capable to claim that there was became a nation, independent sovereign nations due to the struggle under the Yugoslavia because of this spot. This is a very, very bad spot when you have people like this involved in it. And the nation itself did not take any kind of steps to block, to stop. Everybody in the United States of America, in Britain, in Moscow, every fucking body. How many people was involved in this shit? Million people globally? How many? Knew about 1991 issue about Slovenian independence. The question here only persists. How the hell did these people manage to paddle so long with the lies in front of Slovenian people, in front of the broader public, in front of the public, which actually became ever increasingly panicked, scared that the truth would come out so that they would not lose their status of independence? It's about embarrassment only. This is a very, very red mark. When you deliver a child to this world, it doesn't come with a record like this. A new state. What the fuck? This is the same thing like you would have Eastern Germany. Victims in Eastern Germany that KGB would play bad stuff on them. Continue the same thing in a newly formed Germany. You know what I mean? And there would be no fucking transition. Like the same shit goes on. Like, what's the point of having your country then together? What's the point of continued being unemployed and scratch your basically ass without knowing the fucking purpose of life, basically? No, not knowing, but having the right to. Knowing, yes. If I would know one, you wouldn't fucking hear about me. The stuff they did is an avalanche of abuse. It's nothing more, it's nothing worse than wasting our time, basically. It's nothing worse than the right to employment taken away from you. You want to complain about, and you are labeled as a paranoid schizophrenic. Good luck. This is definitely not a democracy. This is, however, definitely the final hour of the criminals that destroyed me 48 years of my life. I don't know how much my father, the possibility that he might have endured something else prior to having delivered the final shot, the pill that left him completely incapacitated, suffering stroke issue, stroke-like symptoms. But whatever it is that you are watching this program, understand that there are such things that could slow your brain from normal functioning, that can be an placed inside of the food. My mom did this stuff in 1992. I don't think it was 93. I think it was 1992. And I was warned about they will do this stuff. My mom warned me. My father warned me about it. And as I would pay attention to it, they had to stop with this shit. There are such things. It was tested on me personally, I can tell you. And there are actually even worse than these things. It's also the stuff that's used to put you in a wheelchair with the symptoms of stroke, just so you understand that. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was educational. I am going to look over Angela Merkel's partner in the Western Germany, but Angela Merkel has nothing other than to say yes to everything I stated. It was seldomly we would travel to Eastern Germany from Western Germany. Rarely, actually. It was frequent through the Czech Republic or wherever the fuck. I did not even look the map yet. Maybe you can also enter through the Poland, whatever they used. But I can tell you that Angela Merkel also was in Bonn before fall of the Soviet Union, before it was resolved, before DDR joined to Western Germany. That she would also go on a personal. And I also told you that she traveled all the way here to Slovenia. Bine Mohar was selected as a driver also to DDR because he have, what is the name, MZ? Wow, a motorcycle. They had two motorcycles. One was Java and the other one was, I don't know. MZ or something like this. And those are good Eastern German motorcycles. And if the Germans have observed that you have this kind of motorcycle, and then they give you a green light to become a driver. So this village here is not really innocent in absolutely any way. He became a driver like this, tried by the police. They demonstrated what he had to do. It wasn't a big deal. He a fucking drugged up individual sitting next to you and go. And that's all there is to it. Yeah. All right. So I hope this was interesting. Was it interesting? Have from dead air from Eastern Germany, Germans coming here in this village already so much earlier than what I anticipated. Incredible. Who the hell would have thought about that? Brain knows it all. June 24, 2023 it is. Thanks for watching this video. Till next time. This guy, Loisa Petrle, Janez Janša, they would continue to remind me to pay attention to how they fucked me. Insisted me that I will be one against like 5 of them that did this shit to me. And what that meant was, for me, as I was told, they continue to interpret this, that you will be out of Slovenia and so on and so forth. It was a sickening shit. If I go back to this issues of mental illness, sickening as hell, man. With a people like this, I don't know what possibly could not go wrong. You know what I think I survived? I survived because in 91, when they did this stuff to me, when they decided they will not recognize, actually, I didn't even ask for recognition. I asked to stop with this shit so I can have a job. I was totally precise about it. They started to blame British royals for it also. They started to blame royals that were involved in it, figures, Dutch, Swedish. They started to blame number of people, especially British royals, as per guilty for this stuff, that it cannot stop, that it's just it can be stopped, that it's people like this that they don't want stop and this and that. And I didn't know how to respond otherwise than to suggest them to act like they're royals. I suggested them, I said, well, if we don't have royals, no, you would have, obviously, you would have to have a royal so that you could stop this shit. And I told Janez Janša and Igor Baučar, I said, to what Milan Kučan was laughing at me also. Petrle, they were all laughing at me because it's funny, right? It's funny to be tortured. It's funny to be tortured. Since age 4, tortured. And you tell them at age 19 that they should just deputize one of them, at least temporarily, if not permanently. I didn't give a fuck. I just wanted the freedom. So that that person can act like a king and confront these people and let me free. I told them, I am going to act in front of you like you are a royal, like you are a majesty, and that's that. And we go through this and you let me go fucking free. Now, let me demonstrate to you that bigger disgrace for Yanis Yansha, for Peterle, for Dmitry Rupel, for Buchar, for Puchnik. That much bigger disgrace for these people here. I'm going to give you another one. That's going to be a horror today in Ljubljana. Huh? Yanis Yansha. So this is a fucking disgrace all the way. You know, 1990, and I demonstrated you already the picture. And this was the picture that you can see him laughing sadistically, with Boucher. So these are they rated me as a mentally ill, when in reality these are as psychopaths. You know what a psychopatha is? These are psychopaths. See, they are definitely not normal people. These are mentally ill people. As I walked today home, I said to myself that the internet is flooded about the communist, what the communists used to do. The communists, it was a communist that communists did this and communists did that, and it was always a communist that communists did. I don't know what the fuck communists. Communists killed people. Communists this. Communists have done that to people. It was all kinds of stuff the communists have done to people. You know what I came to realize? I actually came to realize. Here's the picture. I came actually to realize that nothing here was about the communism. It had nothing to do with the communism. Nothing. I also learned this from the DDR, from Eastern Germany. I learned from the Eastern Germany that my case was not about the communism, but the internet is poisoned with the issue about the communism. My case was about the ethnic cleansing. This had nothing to do with communism. And I'm so not lucky. Hey, um, my case was related to foremost. My case was related to the ethnic cleansing. Uh, no. So how the hell do you get to? They wanted to make a big Serbia. That was the idea. And if you ask me, I think that Aloisa Petrle is totally next to Janis Janš and all these people. I think these people are totally indifferent from Milan Kucan and from the rest of the pack. I don't think that's actually difference of any kind when it comes to these people. Yeah, there's this beautiful picture right here. This picture brought me so many memories. Yeah. And so when I stated to them this, that I'm just gonna act like, I told them, just act like you are a king, and I'm gonna act like you are like I am your servant. They took the picture like you see here, so that I would remember and be ashamed of myself. You like this? Huh? You like it? Yeah, I'm gonna give you a fucking name. I'm gonna remind you what you did. You destroyed 48 years of my life like this. This is Slovenia, what I see in front of me. This is a Slovenian independence. This is a Slovenian nation. Rotten as hell. Hateful as any nation can be in this world. Nothing in this world, however, can compare with the hatred against their own native Slovenia displayed against me. Nothing in this world. I don't really know what's going to come out of this stuff, but the truth will wander out. As for a Novo Mesto police station, I'm going to get you FBI in there. I will get you a police from abroad that will march in there and will have you investigated. I want to meet a chief directors from police station when I was in the kindergarten and when I was in the first grade of grammar school. See what Slovenia is to me? You see these guys right there laughing like this? That's exactly what it's a funny thing. It's a funny thing, huh? Isn't it? It's a funny thing. All right. If it's funny, you're gonna have a lot of fun. Either way. That's all I'm gonna do for this video. I think I did a fairly good job. I don't have anything else to say. That you would damage a person like this, you would continue to use one. What I did not finish is why I actually survived. I go back to that issue. Lojza Peterle suggested me after a year and a half already of Slovenian independence, that was in 1992 or 1993, he went forward and he started to lie. It's because the Croatia still needs you and this and that. Croats at the time were violent toward me, aggressive. I still continue to support them no matter what, just like I did Slovenia. I didn't swallow the lie. I just did my job. You understand? Those that observed me, I continue to support Croatia. Croatia was very bad to me. Croatia did very bad stuff to me. Croatia didn't do anything good to me. But I did my stuff. I continue to do the stuff because maybe I have a higher conscience. I definitely do. I cannot afford myself to land on a level of Croatian or Slovenian politicians. Definitely not. Maybe Croatia is even more disgusting stuff. The country was literally liberated through this case. I don't know what more disgusting is. And continued to remind me, basically, this guys, that it will be myself against what they did to me, and it's going to be myself against five of them, and that Slovenia is going to lose independence if this is going to come out and stuff like this. As for the slavery issues, which I suggested, I practically what they refer to as that I volunteered to be their slave. For this issue here, for the picture, we did not finish with this. I'm going to finish right now. You know, it's interesting. It did not stop here with this crime. This was my frequent individual who would drive me around. This one here. This this police officer became like 100% individual that would drive me around all the time. And then occasionally you would have also this and this. This was very violent guy, and so was also this. Then at the end also this one here joined them. And then these are all the people as you see here from this here. They're not even from Milan Kucha. Interesting, isn't it? I think it is. The brave people that you see right there. Huh? Oh, look at that. With the hands in their pockets. Oh, like a big boss. Lojza Peterle demanded from me. We're going to go back to Lojza Peterle. That much bigger disgrace. See this guy here? We're gonna go back to this dude here. I don't think there ever was worse person than this. I think this is the worst person in the world. The worst ever individual. This crook here did not stop there. He demanded from me on a foreign visitation, that's how he received the medal from Japan, to authorize him to act in front of me with my permission to represent my personal interests in front of other governments, other government officials, including royals, as like a king. I mean, in other words, like my owner. So I need to fulfill the shit I personally started to liberate myself from Yugoslav hell, from the greatest Serbian Chetnik state, which started with this MK Ultra, essentially genocide through what is known as MK Ultra, which is exactly what I demonstrated here. Huh? And so I think I did fairly good. The police did a lot of stuff that I'm not even interested in using it. I just need to remain on his behalf. Slovenian police orchestrated with a silicon mask a bunch of stuff at later stage, at later time, trying to excuse this criminal. They tried to create a conspiracy against one, but he was this very hardcore scumbag that did all this stuff. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching this video. Till next time.